Good morning, everyone. Happy Supercharged Manifesting Monday. Welcome to the start of a brand new week. Ah, it is summer. How is that? How is that possible? All right, I'm really excited for our conversation this morning. We're going to talk about wealth creation from a whole different angle. Usually when we're talking about manifesting wealth, it's about all the different ways to call in wealth. Good morning. All the different ways to call in wealth. Um, and usually from having the physical money, the physical cash, the physical assets growing, net worth, all of that coming in. To our lives. And so this morning, though, I want to come from a totally different angle about wealth creation. Hey, Kiki, Diane, Nancy, Lisa, all the early risers. Hey, Paulette. Good morning, everyone. All right, so grab pen and paper because you're going to want to write this down. I'm going to give you some things to consider and a whole different angle around wealth creation. So as everyone's joining, good morning, mwah, happy Monday, happy summer, happy all the things. Oh my gosh, my life. I I know that you're going to need pen and paper, so grab some pen and paper. All right, so here's the thing. When we talk about Jocelyn, good morning. When we talk about wealth creation, we're usually coming at it from dollars and cents, right? So I am creating, I'm intending, I'm visualizing myself with this amount of wealth in my life. And we usually think of a physical number, something that's measurable. And the reason I want to come at this conversation from a totally different angle about how to create wealth is there's actually something that gets in the way when lots of people go to create wealth that you're not yet fully aware of. Your attention isn't on it. And it is, how do I say this with caution? It is, it's playing a bigger role than you know. And it is your fears around becoming wealthy. Hang tight, hold on, hear me out, listen to this. So we don't realize because all we're usually focused on is, oh, I have the desire for wealth and there's so much I could do when I am wealthy and it's going to be the answers to all my problems and I'm going to just, live this amazing life. And so because that's usually how we think about it, there's always a shadow. There's always duality in every experience in life. And one of the things that I said while we were on the goddess retreat, we did a really powerful activity one morning where we made ourselves look at the shadow. Because if we're not giving attention to it, if we don't have a strategy for dealing with it, it is playing a role in our manifesting, and it's usually a role that does not cause us to have the things that we desire. So I'm going to give you an example of early in my manifesting days. I realized that I've always been driven to succeed. I wanted to have incredible levels of success. I knew I wanted a lot of financial abundance, and I was newly divorced. I had no job, and the logical thing to do seemed to be to go get a job, right? As my first step towards creating the wealth that I want. And I remember hearing a lot of women talk about a fear of success. And I was like, I don't understand. How do you fear success? What does that mean? Everybody wants to be successful until I realized my own fears around success. So while I was happy go lucky, intending, journaling, wanting it, I want 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 to be successful, I was literally like, not even considering that I might have a fear of success. And once I realized that actually one of my greatest fears of success was that if I became successful, it would cost me my freedom. Right? Usually this is where we think you're going to have to work hard. You're going to have to make a lot of sacrifice. You're not going to have a life of your own anymore. And so I actually was carrying a fear of success because succeeding where I had a business before and I was successful, it cost me my life. I had no life. And so here I was wanting to be success, that level of success and more, even more than I had before. And so it was like, wait a minute, that's going to mean I'm going to lose my freedom. And so, truthfully, as much as I wanted to be successful, I was also harboring fears of success. And I share that with you because a lot of people desire now to be wealthy, but they're not, considering as you're creating that wealth that maybe you're afraid of the work that's going to be required, that you believe is going to be required. Maybe you're afraid of it taking away the kind of easy-go-lucky life that you have. Maybe you're afraid of your ability to manage and multiply and keep and grow that kind of wealth because maybe something happened in the past with you with a lot of money. And so I want you to consider the shadows, consider the parts that you have not yet looked at as you're talking about your wealth creation. And I want you to include that this morning. I want to give you some 3 or 4 different things to consider as you go about your week and you write out the kind of massive amounts of wealth that you want to create, right? So the first one, hey, good morning, everyone. Yeah, so good morning. I see a lot of, yeah, I see a lot of that. Been there. So number one, I want you to think about, who do I want to be as a wealthy person? How am I being? Because the other fear that a lot of people are not addressing is that they actually fear they're going to change. One of my goddesses said, I realized I had a fear of being wealthy because it meant I would change, I would up level, and I would have to distance myself from the people in my life currently who were not at that frequency and at that vibration. And so we're not thinking about that usually when we're calling in wealth, right? But subconsciously we have that fear. And if we don't consider it in how we create wealth, then we're just stuck in the fear, and the fear is playing out in the delay of our manifestation. So we get to decide. I am the one who decides. So right now, before it manifests fully, before your wealth manifests fully, or as you're creating more of it, I want you to consider, when you have the massive amounts of wealth that you desire, who are you being? Who are you choosing today that when you get there, this is who I will be? This is how I'm being as a person of wealth. So as a person of wealth, I am surrounded by people who have full hearts, people who are in high integrity, people, because a lot of people are like, oh, and now I'm going to have a lot of money. And then there's going to be a lot of people who just want to take my money away, or I don't know who to trust, right? So who are you being? I'm being the kind of person who attracts people of high integrity. I am being the kind of person who feels at ease with wealth. It feels natural to me. I don't have any imposter syndrome in being wealthy. I am being the kind of person with wealth that it makes me feel so much joy to be able to have so many choices in life. Who are you being? Who are you being as a person of wealth? That is question number one that you want to consider in your wealth creation. I not only want you to write about how much money, dollars and cents, you want to create in your wealthy life, but I want you to also consider, and now with that amount of money, who am I being? Right? So who am I being? Number two, what feelings do I have now that I have wealth? What are the feelings that I have? And this is where you get to address the fact that sometimes when you look into the future and you see that version of yourself that is so wealthy, you project onto that version of yourself that you're going to have fears around having this much money. Am I going to be able to keep it? Am I going to do good with money? Am I really going to feel deserving of this wealth? So I cannot tell you, I have had people who have manifested the wealth that they desire and then struggled with deservingness around it. So trust me when I say, in advance, create you with the wealth. Also consider how you're being, not just to have it, but how are you being with the wealth? What are the feelings that you have? I have feelings of deservingness. I have feelings of joy. I have feelings of gratitude. What are the feelings that you have? I have feelings of trust, self trust. I trust myself with this kind of wealth. right? Barbara, I love you. I love you. Um, Barbara says, I felt guilty and undeserving in the beginning. Yeah. So I want you to, um, I want you to consider that. What feelings do I have now that I am wealthy? Okay. Another one that I want you, yes, another one that I want you to consider is, how do I experience relationships? What kind of relationship experiences do I have? Now that I have all of this wealth, how do I experience relationships? Because again, another thing that people worry about is, okay, so the relationships that I have in my life, are they really here for the right reasons? Just imagine, you think wealthy people are cautious with inviting other people into their lives, especially people they don't know, right? So in advance, let's just take that worry off the table and just say, this is how I experience relationships. Everyone that's close to me and in my life is here for me, for the person that I am, for what I as a human bring to the table, separate from my wealth. I feel so fulfilled. I feel so much joy. I feel so much love and happiness in all of my significant relationships, right? So we deal with the beingness of wealth in relationships. Um, the other one is, I want you to consider, what material things and outcomes do you call in from a place of already being wealthy? So I want you to actually go to that version of you that already has all the wealth. And so now I want you to be clear. So you don't get to, I'm manifesting wealth, manifesting wealth, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Or, I'm going to have all this money and not be clear about what it is that I want in material possessions. The truth is, many times we don't want the dollars and cents for just the sake of the dollars and cents. They're actually material things, they're experiences that our hearts desire. And so I want you to think about, now that you're at that wealthy self. One of my clients says, I know the jet that I want. It costs $19 million. It's got white leather seats. She's got all the features of the jet, how much the hangar space costs. She's figured it all out. And I love that, because she is in her wealthy self spending her wealth. Like, she knows exactly how it's going to be allocated. The things that she not only knows, I want a jet, she knows exactly how much it's going to cost, the hangar, the pilot, everything about that life. She's already documented the use of the money. I am here to tell you that when you step further into the beingness of wealth, is the faster you will manifest it and the more natural it will feel for you. Sometimes when we desire to have wealth, it seems so far-fetched. It seems so out there. Between it seeming so out there because we're not actually sitting down and putting ourselves in that space. The other thing is that we actually um we actually have these shadow sides around wealth, and it's based in our money traumas. This is another thing we talk about a lot. It's based in our money traumas, and if we're not considering our traumas when we are creating our wealth, if we're not considering, what, I know, kind of like, this is my thing, this is a trauma that I've had. Like, one of mine is deservingness. So when I go to create my wealth, I create a beingness of Tasha as deserving with wealth, right? So I I want you all to be thinking about that. Who am I with money? How will I feel with money? And so, Carolyn, I want to encourage you to change money to wealth. I want you to change the word money. Who am I being with wealth? Because, it's like, when you think about a lot of money, it's going to be different for all of us. I want us to be elevated. I want us to be thinking of wealth, not just money, which is like, a lot of money, but wealth. It's a whole nother level energetically. And that is where I said at the start of the year, that is my commitment to get into that next level, taking our community to that next level, out of the money vibration, because it is, believe it or not, it is not a very high frequency money. But when you talk about wealth and currency, that is a higher vibration, higher frequency. And that's where I want us to go. So I want you to be thinking in terms of, you know, there's someone on here who's being very honest and saying, I'm afraid of money. I'm afraid of money. And that's what I mean. Sometimes, as much as you put in all the work to create wealth, you may very well be harboring fears of having lots of it. So as you are writing your intentions for wealth, always be also including your state of being. I feel comfortable. I'm at ease. I'm a great money manager. I love the way money and wealth multiplies in my care, right? Wealth multiplies in my care. It grows, it comes, it loves it here with me. Um, I love it. Carla says, I'm feeling wealthy and loved. My neighbor just gave me some yummy mangoes. I am jealous, Carla. Good for you. All right, everyone. I am going to repeat the questions I want you to consider. Grab your journals and just process and write this out today. I want you to get a blank sheet of paper, write out the number, your wealth number at the top. I'm so happy and grateful that I live a lifestyle that is, including this number in wealth, this many millions in wealth. This is my average balance, however you want to language that. And this is who I am being. This is my beingness as a wealthy person. This is how I feel as someone who has this kind of wealth. This is my standard way of feeling. I feel gratitude, I feel joy, I feel peace, I feel generous. What are the feelings that you have? This is how I experience relationships. This is how I experience relationships as a wealthy person. So the people in my life are here for all the right reasons, right? They love and care about me for me. And what are the material things and experiences that you are calling in now that you are a person of wealth? All right, those are your, how many questions? 1, 2, 3, 4 questions I want you to journal about today. Write your wealth number at the top, and then who am I being as a person of wealth? Who am I being? How am I a person of wealth? And then I want you to talk about, how do I feel? How am I feeling as a person of wealth? What are the types of relationships that I have as a person of wealth? And what are the material things and experiences that I've called in from this place of being wealthy? Mwah. With that, have a wonderful rest of your week. I'm sending you all so much love. Mwah. And I am off to my travels. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Bye.